Okay, hello everyone.
How's it, Oaks?
It's been a few years, but we thought we'd get the band back together.
Can't believe it.
It's
Can't
time.
believe it.
It's time for the Ramrod report. When was
Ladies,
the last time we did one of these, Rolls?
I didn't even know we were doing one. You ambushed me.
Ambush you, but still we've got a bike set up. We've got product placement, which
We
is
do.
good.
Yeah, thanks to Curve, thanks
Yeah.
to Redshift, bouncy technology. Very, very appreciative of well, just their sponsorship
Yeah,
and
normally
support, really.
we talk through our
Thoughts and
sponsors
prayers.
at the start,
Yeah,
of
we
the
would.
show.
Yeah, we would.
but we don't really have any, other than of course.
Well, the mighty
Mighty
golden
Quakers.
chevrons.
All right, so where are we, Rolls? Where are we right now?
Where are we? You don't need to shout. Your microphone's just on the top
just
of your...
on the top of my helmet. I'm maxing it out. Yeah, we've gone pro.
Yeah.
Since last time, we've got microphones.
We've got a little fluffy thing in here. Hello, can you hear me? Is this thing on?
So
We're in
what are we
Plettenberg
doing?
Bay, mate. We're in Plettenberg Bay, South Africa. And we're doing the Rhino Run.
I can't believe it's happening.
5 years on.
Every time you say that, you add a year.
5 years. Yeah, but you've always been great with math, and I've just been great with embellishing stories.
Well, because we've been thinking about it for a while, but 3 years ago we were here recceing
For the
the
second
whole
year.
thing. Yeah, well, it's just
3
been-
years ago for the second year, so technically we're 4 years in, and a good storyteller will always round up. So we're 5 years.
Excuse him. Well, that's
We're
right. It was
five-
going to
we're
be
five.
two countries, two kingdoms at one point. You remember that?
Oh, 2 countries, 2 kingdoms. It was going to be beautiful.
Two
It was
C, two K.
Swaziland. It was going to be Lesotho. It was going to be South Africa, and then it was going to be Namibia. And then we realised it was going to be 5,000 k's long, and everyone needed to take a month off work to come and join us.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
we thought probably not going to be able to
Scale
do
it
that
back
one.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
scale it back.
Just a touch.
Terra Australis.
But anyway, so here we are. We're in Plettenberg Bay. We are less than 24 hours out from the Rhino Run. We probably should have said that before, shouldn't we? Yeah, anyway, here we are.
Oh,
the Rhino
I mean,
Run is happening.
We've got a great media team. They can edit.
They can edit, yeah. So
Thanks, Ray.
That's Ray. We say team as well. Team. I suppose it's Ray and me in the car. I'm just helping out. I'm the work experience kid. Anyway.
Don't touch the fluffy bits.
Yeah, don't touch the fluffy bits, mate. So
Sorry.
we're less than 24 hours out from the start of the Rhino Run.
Can you believe it? I better start putting my bike together. That would be, I mean...
Well, it's 4 o'clock
it's 4
already.
o'clock.
Whoosh, there
It's
goes,
4 o'clock.
there
There
goes
goes the
another
day.
Oh, well.
They just disappear, don't they?
But anyway, we're 24 hours out from the start of the Rhino Run. How are you
believe it.
feeling, Rolls? It's been a big...
Yeah, big undertaking for the
undertaking.
both of us, really. In and amongst doing lots of other interesting things with Curve, we managed to cobble this thing together. Yeah, I'm feeling really excited to see what we've accomplished, not just with all the riders getting here, but all of the riders themselves telling their interesting stories of getting to the start line and just having that beers on the beach, meeting everyone that you've been speaking to and encouraging to come to South Africa and race. Yeah, it was really special. So
Sounds
yeah, I'm
cool.
feeling quite proud.
Yeah.
Proud of what we've achieved. I think bit nervous, bit excited. You know, all those normal feelings about crossing a couple of countries on a bicycle.
Yeah, it was great to see the riders last night. The briefing on the beach.
Briefing on the beach.
Beautiful spot. Riders
Yeah.
coming from all around the world.
Oh,
That nervous anticipation of
yeah.
what's ahead.
Yeah, the stiff handshakes as they look each other in the eye. All right,
That's
mate.
right. Psychological games are starting.
Games starting. Looking at each other's bikes and feeling the tyres and, you know, someone throwing sand in Sofiane's rotor. Oh, that was awkward. Sorry, Sofiane.
That's
Yeah,
right, sorry.
yeah.
Oh no, it's salt water.
Abd-
Damn, go for a little ride on the sugar water.
Abdullah, like, you know, taking all of Slane's batteries out of his bike and, you know, all sorts of nonsense.
All sorts.
Only
horseplay.
joking, that didn't
Yeah,
really
didn't happen at
happen.
all.
That didn't really happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slane
No
doesn't
tyre
have
slashings or
electronic
anything like that.
batteries.
But no, it's great to see everyone down there.
Yeah, it
and
was.
interesting as
So
well.
good.
24 hours out. It's always an exciting day. We've had all sorts of things happen today. We
had Daniel filing down his hanger because he realised his replacement hanger wasn't quite right. So there we were at the bike shop looking at Stephen Lane with, it looked like some sort of vice crimp and a bench.
getting the power tools
File,
out.
getting a couple of power tools out and just helping another fellow rider before the start. We've had tracker issues, Garmin issues
as well. We've had SD
cards
cards on
exploding,
Garmin's exploding, catching fire and needing to be replaced.
Yeah, Spot Tracker's not actually loaded for the right device.
Yeah, wrong device. Questions about Spot devices. And
how do you actually operate a Spot device? Does it require batteries? How do you switch it on?
That's all right. This is the only thing,
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing you need to learn, really. That and how to survive out there in the bush.
Anyway, so it's been fun. We've had who else? We've had no names, of course, but Benke in there trying to fix $1,000 jacket with a safety pin.
Yeah.
Though that was my idea, the safety pin, but we couldn't make it work, unfortunately. But yeah, all this sort of...
Well, I mean, you try and come up with so many ideas so that you don't have to give your equipment to a rider. Safety pin seemed like a safe idea.
But no, it's always funny, 24 hours out. There's always things that go wrong. Yeah, poor old Benke, tried to zip up his jacket, just making sure everything was good. And, of course, the zip has corroded from
many good days.
Good days in the saddle. Yeah, Benke juice.
Corrosive.
Highly corrosive Benke juice.
That's what happens when you drink champion beer for champions. And Benke drinks Black Label. They call him Black Label Banks. BLB.
Just lives on the stuff. He's been living on the trainer. He's doing 6 to 8 hours a day on the trainer.
In a jacket. Thermoregulation, just nudging to Namibian temperatures.
Powering down the Black Labels just to stress his kidneys enough and liver just so it can survive the toxins.
It replicates the toxins produced by riding for so long. It's a very interesting strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays. It's a bold strategy. Let's see how it plays out for him.
That's right. The only casualty so far has been a jacket. Let's see if Benke can survive. But no, it's been exciting seeing the riders riding nervously around town. Masaka guys as well. It was great to see them there last night. So obviously the race
very special. They had a speech.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them. Everyone gave a speech, and the Godfather himself, Ross, founding father of Masaka. So that was pretty special. Sorry, I interrupted you with the Masaka.
No, it was great.
I was reliving the moment. Yeah.
Pretty exciting journey ahead for them. It's interesting.
Getting to the start line,
getting to the start line, hearing their videos as well. The little rider introductions. If you haven't heard them, we've got them elsewhere on YouTube here.
Go check them out.
Yeah, Kato and Wasawa laying it down.
They laid it down pretty hard.
Yeah, they're here, and they're going to beat you.
We're coming for you.
Yeah, we're coming.
We're coming.
It is interesting. They've got such bold plans, right? They're
8 days. Was it 8 days?
Yep. It's got an 8 out the front.
It's got an 8 in front of it.
And they're looking at 400 Ks a day. No one's been able to do that in a race of this kind before.
They said that about Abdullah, and you know.
But that's the thing, like off-road, 400 Ks a day, it hasn't been done. But these guys, who knows? Maybe they'll be able to pull it off. If they do, hats off to them, microphone included. But if they can do it, it will be stunning. But they're going to be charging off the front like excited greyhounds,
like
chasing after
wild super fit Ugandans.
That's right. So if the race was about watts per kilo at threshold,
these
it's
jokes
over.
would win.
It's done.
Yeah, I reckon they'd win. They're pretty strong.
That's worth 2 days maybe.
Maybe
in
2
a race
days.
Like this.
You're right.
So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. But super excited that they're here at the start. And they'll be itching to go tomorrow. But in terms of the bikes as well, what have you seen out there with the bikes?
I've seen all sorts. I've seen hardtails,
rigs of the Rhino
29ers, the rigs. I've seen Benke's Karoo that's finally been unleashed. That's pretty interesting. I've seen a Vitus from Sofiane. I've seen Josh Ibbott's Mason. Is it a Boke?
not sure.
Bokeh or something. It's Kermit. It's a Mason Kermit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the green one. It's got a rad little like motocross fender, just to try and nudge the giraffes out of the way just before they get too close. Interesting strategy, bold strategy. Let's see how that pays out for him. Yeah, I've seen. I've got little Big Kev.
LBK.
LBK. He's out there. Just
Big at the front, little at the back.
Yeah, obviously the factor bikes from the Masaka crew, they're only running like tiny little skinny tyres, and then you've got 2.6 in the biggest, like GMX Plus. Josh Ebert's not even running tyres that have got any grip on them.
Yeah, so he's
running.
He's got some big,
these sort of
big
like
lovely balloon tyres.
Balloon tyres that terrify me really.
Traditional rando tyres.
He has brought a dune buggy to one of the hardest 4x4 tracks known to man, so I'm really interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, that'll be,
especially if it gets wet.
It'll be interesting in the wet. That will be
Wild.
kind of challenging,
but he's an experienced rider. He's done Tour de Vie, TCR, many a big ultra. Lovely guy, lovely bike.
It's a really interesting thing because obviously this is the first time the race is run, and so people just aren't sure of what sort of bike to bring.
Yeah, what to bring.
And it kind of fits into, I think riders have gone down two different paths. There are only a few in the field who have had a lot of experience in places like the outback in Australia and so on.
Yes.
And they're probably thinking more about desert corrugations and that side of things. And they've opted for the fatter tyres and a bit more comfort, heavier setups. Whereas there's another part of the crew who haven't done that sort of riding. They're looking more at the course in terms of the first 750 Ks going, there's a lot of climbing. I better shave some grams off here.
Totally.
And they're looking at more of the traditional gravel bike setup.
I think it'll be a race of two parts.
Yeah,
it's a race of two halves, and one of the halves is only 750 Ks.
So you got, we've got Sarah Hammond. She's on the
Sarah's
Big Kev,
on
the
Big
brand
Kev.
new curved Big Kev, which is exciting.
29 by 2 point. Is she running 235 or 2.1?
No, 2.2.
2.2.
Oh no, 2.1s. 2.1s.
2.1s.
Yeah, 2.1s.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've got Jimmy Ashby. He's riding the GMX Plus.
Ashby on the Plus.
Fatter tyres. We've got
2.6.
Yeah, 2.6.
Mezcal.
Stephen Lane. He's riding a standard Kev, not Big Kev. He's riding standard Kev, but with 650Bs.
650 by 2.25.
2.2. And then we've got Abdullah, who's gone gravel mode. He's on
full
Ekar
gravel race.
Ekar Kev.
Ekar Kev.
Yeah, with Rene. Yes.
Rene.
Yeah. Which ones? Which pass?
Oh, which pass is it?
Which pass is it? Anyway, so he's gone more.
Oh,
of
I
the
can
faster,
tell you because it's on the back of this one.
Setup.
Oracle Ridge. It's not even a pass.
Not even a pass. It's a ridge.
It's a ridge. Sorry.
So
and
it is interesting.
Sofiane's got 650 by 55.
He's got quite wide tyres, but not like a mountain bike.
But not
tyre.
the diameter of a 29er.
And then if you look at the Masaka guys, they're on factor gravel bikes. They're team issued Tim Amani bikes.
I mean, they're sponsored athletes, so they're limited by their sponsors' ability to understand what this race is all about.
But they're on like red.
Sorry, factor. That was mean. That was harsh.
Red Explorer, right?
Red Explorer, big gear on the front.
Yeah.
Well, I think we were looking at 42, 44, 10. It's a monster.
Yeah, but those guys they'll be the fittest guys there.
They're the fittest guys there. You're right. But my goodness, that's a gear to push. I mean, I'm running 38 on the front, 52, 10.
So it's interesting seeing the different bikes. People have got different strategies, and no one really knows because it's the first time the race has been run. It's not like the Tour Divide where every year
you know what's fast.
People have done the course year after year. There's a lot of experience to look at, whereas this, people just don't know. So is a gravel bike going to be up for it? I mean, sure, on hilly terrain, smooth roads, it's going to be faster, right? But you run the risk of sidewall tears. It's going to be super rough on the corrugated, nasty roads out in the desert.
Cumulative fatigue effect, I guess, in the later tail end of the race will probably, it'll hit them harder, won't it?
Absolutely. Or do you go with the more comfort option, so fatter tyres, so you're going to have a bit more comfort, less risk in terms of sidewall tears and all that sort of thing. But you have the weight penalty. It's not as light, so you're going to be a bit slower on the climbs and so on. So yeah, it's interesting. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
I guess
we
which bike
will. That's, I
will-
guess, one of the really fun parts to this whole new Grand Tour, ultra epic, amazing,
Don't use the E word, man.
amazing, super
time to use the E
super
word.
epic
God kills a kitten.
race of.
Not in the fast way either. Sorry.
I
Continue.
just I can't help it, but I guess that adds a little bit more spice to it, and then all of the riders have probably never actually faced off against each other, like that top sort of super experienced elite level endurance athlete that's got victories under their belt but have never actually raced against other elite top rider. So that's quite interesting. You've got record holders and lots of gold medals against all these big races, but actually we've never seen them all really come together like this in, I don't know, a long time.
No, it's really exciting. It's
Yeah.
been great to see such a strong lineup finding their way to the start line. But as we know, the start
Getting
line
to the start,
getting to the start line is tough. You can be defeated
I think
before getting to the start line, and we've seen quite a few riders
we've lost
um,
I think 40.
be defeated.
Yeah,
before the
40
start line.
defeated, 40 DNFs before
Yeah.
even starting, which is
No, with a few people didn't make it to the start line, which is a bit sad to see. Cygnus.
Cygnus
Maybe
got
people
a few.
maybe people were a bit spooked
Yeah.
when it came down to it, but
I think
we've
some
got a
of
great
the
field lining up.
I think the field terrified a lot of people.
Mm.
Because when we first announced it before COVID, and we had 100 people there. Before the big guns were like, all right, I'm in. So it's a shame because all the money, that the entry fee is actually, it's free to ride as long as you donate.
Entry by
What's it?
donation.
Yeah, entry by donation. Donate $250 to Masaka, and you're in.
You're in. Yeah.
Hopefully you've got a bit of experience. If not, the entree will weed you out, and the desert won't claim your soul.
Well, so how do you think it's going to pan out, Riley? I mean,
I
this
reckon
is
all
your
the-
brainchild. How is the?
Well, it's
How
our
do you think
brainchild. We birthed this thing together. So, and you also did most of the work on
an
the route. So,
immaculate conception.
Well,
That's right.
there's all sorts of
but anyway.
relationships out there, and this is a unique one.
How do you think this race is going to pan out, Riles? What's going to happen tomorrow after kickoff?
Yeah, good question, Jerry. And
I mean, you are one of the greatest ultra endurance strategy minds
micro vlogger, I
I've
thought you were going to see.
I've ever seen.
Strategy minds.
Yeah, you have
Strategy
this.
mind. It is a unique view
I can see
on
the
strategy.
pieces of the puzzle being shuffled in your mind at the moment. What's going to play out tomorrow, Riles?
I reckon there'll be 3 to 5 riders that will probably go out pretty hard, pretty quickly, pretty early. It'll probably be something like Sofiane, Stephen Lane, Abdullah, and the 2 Ugandans. Benke might be in the mix there, but he might be sensible enough to know his strength lies in riding his own race. I think most of those people I mentioned will skip a night. I reckon they'll ride through.
Go on an early sleep diet.
Go on an early sleep diet, I reckon, and just set a tone, ask a few questions of the other riders maybe, or just try and spook a few, play a few mind games. I think the more experienced riders like Hammond, Ibbett, they'll probably settle in and be more efficient with their energy early on. You'll probably see some of those riders that I mentioned get to Stellenbosch by Sunday afternoon, early evening.
750 k's in, yeah.
Yeah, 750 k's in. I think they'll be there on Sunday, sort of afternoon, evening. They'll see the touring rhinos probably, and they'll get all excited. And then I think once we get into like day 3, day 4, we might see some of those tactics potentially backfire for a few riders. And then I think we'll see some of the more seasoned riders start to make real inroads into that big lead that was kind of stretched out over those first couple of days. And then I think once they cross the border, I think it's going to be who can just hang on, really. That's my feeling on it. I think it will sort of naturally explode anyway, and then you'll just see this big sort of long drawn out dot explosion. But I think the main 10 or 11 strong riders will probably have that kind of well, I think that's probably what will unfold. That's my opinion.
Well, I think it's just going to be an absolute smash fest from the start. I think the Ugandans, I think Kato and Wasawa, they're going to just hit the first climb and detonate. Those guys are going to just try to stamp their authority. They've got so much to prove. Well, they don't have anything to prove, you know what I mean? But they want to prove something, right? They want to demonstrate that they are strong.
Yeah, true.
And that they are going to destroy everyone.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
So they're going to go out hard, but the thing is, it's not watts per kilo at threshold. There's so much more in these races, and so they're going to have to try to hold that together. Looking after themselves, finding food and water and all that sort of thing on course, sleeping, how much to sleep and all that sort of thing is really challenging. Takes a lot of time and experience to get right.
Yeah, like being efficient on the bike. I think those sort of 5 or so that I mentioned that will blast off. They can do that.
Yeah. So I think
the Masakans will probably hopefully know that they need to be efficient. But yeah, they will probably just ride off the front up the first climbs, going as hard as they can.
I think they'll be blasting off the front. I think Stephen Lane will be strong on the climbs too.
Yeah.
But then again, he hasn't had the experience in the super long stuff. So we'll see if he can hold his. He had some challenges on Race from the Rocks recently, but Abdullah's got that rare combination of
he does.
Knowing what the task is, and executing it, being able to suffer. But he doesn't have the off-road experience, so
he doesn't, which is very brave. I think someone
that's going to happen
to just come out.
Yeah. And then
but you're right.
Sofiane, all the experience in the world, he'll go blasting out trying to stamp his authority on the race. He won't sleep. There's no way he'll sleep until the second day probably.
He's mentioning though that he's very tired. He's won Tour Divide this year. He's done a lot of other races. Did he do Atlas as well, or did he do Silk Road? Silk Road, that's it.
But he's not
Tour Divide, Silk Road, and then
he's not here to wear tread off his tyres, though, mate.
No, but if you're saying those sorts of things before the race, it's interesting because you're speaking to yourself. You're
maybe you're taking the pressure off a bit.
Are you taking the pressure off? Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. It was interesting to hear that though, and in the video saying the same thing, and I was like, oh.
Well, it has been a long season for him, I guess.
Yeah, but he's a full-time pro endurance athlete. This is the job, or this is the job that he's created for himself. So, it's interesting, and that's why there's all these wonderful stories that you guys get to tell and try and tell during the race. I mean,
so there's a lot of big names. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. A few locals as well in the mix. It'll be interesting. I really think.
Oh yeah, there is
some good local talent.
It's been a long
week
2 years.
in the lead up.
Yeah. There's Adrian as well. There's Raphael.
Benke's got a lot of experience with the manga here. Veteran of Race to the Rock as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. I reckon, the race. The course is split into 2 sections. There's everything south of the R355, and then everything north of there.
Oh yeah,
I reckon you cross the river. There's a nice river crossing where everyone will get to cool off, and then you head into the North Cape,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then you're into the rough stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's when the rough stuff starts. Draw a line there at the river. After that, it's more, rough desert riding. I'd characterise it like that.
Yeah.
South of that, a lot of climbing, pretty rough stuff, that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. But yeah, after that, you're more into the traditional corrugated roads, sandy
rough
at
desert.
times, rough desert, heat.
It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be interesting.
Anyway, who knows?
Hot.
Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah, hot up north. Yeah.
It's gonna be hot.
But even as soon as you get across the range, just out the back of us here,
Oof, it gets hot.
Gets very hot.
Oh,
We're
it
seeing
gets
that with
hot.
the touring rhinos at the moment.
Yeah.
They're battling the heat. So
Yeah. Poor old Patrick. Man, he did not have a good day the other day.
no.
He was in
Anyway.
the car
Yeah, it's a shame.
with Jan.
But anyway, that was the queen stage.
Queen stage.
of the rhino
It
tour.
does bite. She bites.
But so super exciting. Kickoff is tomorrow morning at 6:22
22.
a.m.
Yeah.
and it's going to be exciting. It's finally here. It's finally happening.
It's
been
exciting.
It's been a long 5 years. 6 years. 6 years in the making. It's been a long time.
It's such a long time. I remember
but
coming
it's
here
exciting.
about 10 years ago with this plan, and
Just a young boy.
just a young little grasshopper with a dream.
No, it's going to be very exciting to see how it plays out. Any parting words for the riders as they head off, Riles?
I just want to know who's coming in second.
That's right. He's been keeping quiet about his own plans.
Yeah, that's right. I'm
we're
here
gonna
to.
see-
I'm here to destroy.
We're going
I'm
to see
here to
Ramrod
destroy.
charging off the front.
Oh mate, you just wait. That's my bike fully loaded.
It's ready.
It's ready. I'm
Right,
here
it's
to
ready.
ram and rod.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this special edition of the Ramrod Report.
Thanks, Oaks. Giant oak trees.
Hopefully, we'll get some good coverage out to you guys from the race.
Guys,
Fingers crossed.
Don't forget, like, follow Masaka. You subscribe
right.
down below, but also flick a few flat white donations to Masaka Cycling Foundation. We're trying to increase that member base.
Yeah.
You know,
Get on the
Project
program.
500. Get onto the program. Just really let's help develop this wonderful cycling foundation and cycling club, because that's all we're really doing here. We're just turning those pedals, trying to do some good in the world.
All right.
Thanks, Oaks.
Thank you, everyone. Let's hope that recorded. See you later.